Soldiers of resistance reported that Iran could carry out anti-terror operations in Iraq. The Irish News reported that Storming plans Irish translations but not Ulster Scotch due to a lack of demand. The Irish Independent reported that passengers in Dublin Airport chanted "Up the Ra." How dare I? The Irish Independent reported that Irish people have the second highest car dependency rate in the European Union. This means the Irish will suffer fuel inflation due to NATO's escalation against Russia in Ukraine. Belfast Telegraph reported that James McLean condemned the FA for its inaction following 8 years of anti-Irish racist abuse. The Irish Independent reported that Kyle Lafferty apologised after being banned for 10 matches due to using a sectarian slur while he was playing for Kilmarnock. Speaking of the Irish Independent in sports, the Irish Independent reported that Kelly Harrington, Aoife O'Rourke and Amy Broadhurst won gold medals at the European Championships in boxing. Speaking of boxing and Irish achievement, Sky Sports reported that Katie Taylor retained her world title by unanimous decision against Karen Elizabeth Carabal. The Irish Independent reported that a heartbroken Dublin follower cried all the way home after being forced to leave surrogate triplets in Kenya. NDTV reported that China enshrined opposition to Taiwanese independence in its constitution. Nuclear war over semiconductors in Formosa is not worth it. Evonomics reported that Norway is the easiest country to get rich in, and Norway is followed by Sweden, New Zealand, Canada and Denmark. United States is 13th, unlucky for some. Vice reported that Paris Baguette is being boycotted due to a factory worker being crushed to death by a machine. Sunday Life reported that Christopher Walsh from Mount Pleasant is a millionaire who argued in Antrim court that he couldn't afford court costs after crashing his Ferrari. I wonder if he can afford corrective labour or facing the wall. Financial Times reported that Liz Truss made history for all the wrong reasons. She lasted 44 days and she was replaced by Rishi Sunak, who was Boris Johnson's Chancellor of the Exchequer. Belfast Live reported that a 24-year-old man was charged with murder in Rathcoole. The Irish News reported that Adrian Ursu admitted causing the deaths of John O'Hara and Marion Marius Molan by crashing his car on the Ravenhill Road in Belfast. The Belfast Telegraph reported that a mother told an inquest that she was not told of the risks of Lagan Valley midwifery unit after her baby's death. The Irish Independent reported that the midwives broke down in tears at the inquest of the dead baby in Lagan Valley. Belfast Live reported that the RUC apologised for killing Lisa Guy in 2018. Note the contrast with the later story. Belfast Live reported that 2 were dead and 1 is fighting for their life after a lorry and cars crashed in Monaghan. We Are Tyrone reported that a young Killyclougher footballer died in a car crash on Kerr Road. Belfast Live reported that a man was killed in a crash in County Down. Do you notice a pattern? The Irish Independent reported that Stephen Poitier's killer tried to bury him in a garden in Westmeath. The Irish Independent reported that a man was arrested for stabbing a priest at his house in Waterford. That is anti-Christian violence. Interest in Engineering reported that Elon Musk's wealth went down by 100 billion, yet he is still wealthier than Jeff Bezos. Daily Wire reported that Elon Musk is set to purge Twitter. The Observer reported that a child pretended to eat from an empty lunchbox. They didn't qualify for free school meals and did not want people to know that they had no food at home. News Talk reported that Jarlath Reagan said the BBC was oblivious to its offensive use of the phrase throwing a party. The Irish Independent reported that it was the 10th anniversary of the death of Savita Halappanavar. This death was cynically used to change Ireland's pro-life laws. I hope those who pushed for repeal suffer in hell. Cossack News reported that the leaders of the anti-Venezuela Lima group are gone, but Nicolas Maduro remains. The Russian embassy called on the Swiss Foreign Ministry to punish those who smeared paint on the Russian Orthodox Church of the Virgin Mary in Geneva. CNN reported that the FBI offered Christopher Steele $1 million for proof that his dossier was real. As we know, it was complete bovine excrement. Fox News reported that Canadian law allows euthanizing minors without parental consent. Al Jazeera's Labour files show that the Blurites spied on Banites, purged Banites, and were racist to Banites of colour during the smear campaign against Jeremy Corbyn. It shows that the Israeli state supported the Blurite smears. As Witch Hunt showed, Jews were purged for alleged anti-Semitism. Brighthelm reported that the Azov battalion summarily executed people in Mariupol by slitting their throats. Yahoo Finance reported that social security funds could be depleted by 2034. Taxes will cover 78% of payments after. The cap on the wealthy's contribution needs to go. The maximum taxable amount is $160,200. The Daily Mail reported on a leaked Kremlin document which says Vladimir Putin has Parkinson's and pancreatic cancer. The Economist reported that Russia's elite is contemplating a future without Vladimir Putin. If those stories are true, then the timing could not be worse. World News Monthly reported that the UN backed an official who said the Jewish lobby controls social media. That was a story from a few months ago that I missed. The Financial Times reported that Lula should use his victory to revive Brazil's economy. Bloomberg reported that Lula could be a good friend to investors. As the Associated Press reported, Lula opened Latin America's World Economic Forum meeting in 2015. Tucker Carlson and Jesse Waters reported that David DePape got into the Pelosi's home and hit Paul Sr. with a hammer. Pelosi referred to DePape as a friend. KTVU reported DePape was in his underwear. The San Francisco police did not release body cam footage. DePape is a nudist who convinced himself he was Jesus for a whole year. He supports BLM and gay pride. DePape is an illegal alien from Canada. He asked, "Where is Nancy?" for the purpose of injuring her kneecaps so that she would have to go into Congress in a wheelchair, which would show that legislative actions have consequences. His neighbour alleged he was abusive to the mother of his children. His blog was not archived until the night of the attack. The attack took place at 2:30 a.m. The police got there in 2 minutes, 4 times quicker than the average. Governor Gavin Newsom tried to evade responsibility and accountability by blaming Jesse Watters. The Financial Times reported that there have been calls for an inquiry after reports of Liz Truss's phone being hacked. The Sunday Times reported that The Sunday Times reported that Liz Truss put double espressos, independently produced coffee, fresh sandwiches, bagels, sushi and Sauvignon Blanc on parliamentary expenses. Press TV reported that Vladimir Putin said, "Daddy, why is our house so cold?" in reference to European Union sanctions against Russia. The Irish News reported that a man who was jailed for the manslaughter of an RUC officer lost his appeal. This would not happen if the roles were reversed. Note the contrast with the earlier story, with the RUC merely apologising for killing someone without accountability. Laura Ingram and The Intercept reported that leaked documents show that Homeland Security censored social media. JP Morgan bankers attended the meetings on censorship. Telesur reported that Ecuador is in chaos with car bombs and hanging corpses. There were 6 attacks by criminal gangs on Tuesday. The Supreme Court could strike down Grutter versus Bollinger in the case of Students for Fair Admissions Incorporated versus President and Fellows of Harvard College. This means that racist affirmative action policies could be struck down.